Our next caller is Chris from New Hampshire.
What's up, Chris?
What's happening?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, man. How can we help you?
Good. So first off, thank you for, just taking my call, and, just the opportunity to be on the show is a little bit surreal for me. I've been listening to the show for 5 or 6 years now,
Awesome.
and it's awesome to see you guys in person.
Thank you.
On, man.
Killer.
So do you want me to ask my question, then provide some context?
Sure.
Yep. Let's hear it.
All right. So the essence of my question is, how does one know when they're ready to ramp up their training volume? I'm 32 years old. You could say I'm a career overtrainer. 8-ish years ago, I was really into the OCR scene, training with some insane volume, like running 50 miles in a week, in addition to, lifting and HIIT workouts.
Oh, wow.
It was a little crazy. I'm proud of my accomplishments, but eventually my body did revolt, and I was forced to drastically reduce my training and focus on mobility and mastering movement patterns. When I started to feel and move better, I started doing traditional weightlifting because I'd stumbled upon your podcast, and I bought a few MAPS programs since. I continued lifting without any significant issues, and saw a lot of great gains from focusing on lifting. About 7 months ago, I came to the realization that I was overtraining again, because I had some of the negative side effects that you guys frequently talk about in association with overtraining. My libido was down. I was waking up in the middle of the night, wide awake. I'd wake up with night sweats, those kind of things. So I did a cycle of MAPS 15 to reduce volume and just the overall stress. And I noticed almost immediate positive results. I was sleeping through the night, libido was a lot better, and I wasn't ending the day feeling completely wiped out. So this is where the context is a little slightly different from my original email. I wrapped up MAPS 15 around the end of March, took an additional deload week before starting MAPS Strong. You guys have been talking about the benefits of non-traditional lifts around that time, and I figured it would be a good program to phase in instead of going into powerlift. I do eventually want to hit a 500-pound deadlift, but that's taking to the side burner for now. I got through the first phase of Strong, but I ended up getting sick for a couple of weeks, which kind of stopped the process. And then I had 2 weeks in between feeling better and going on a trip to Aruba with my wife, during which I did a few MAPS 15 workouts to just kind of stay in things. I restarted phase 1 of Strong this week, but ended up cutting out the third set of most of the exercises in the first foundational workout, because I didn't want to overload myself from going from almost nothing to the normal program sets and reps. I figured I would do that for this first week, see how it goes, and then ramp up the full sets in week 2 or 3 if I was feeling well. So I really just wanted to hear your advice and kind of sanity check the process. I'm not trying to do too much too fast.
Smart.
But I'm curious how you guys would assess whether or not someone is ready to ramp up the volume, going from 15 to Strong or from 15 to really any other program.
That's a good question.
Right.
Let me ask you this. Were you getting stronger in MAPS 15?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And so you got stronger throughout the program up until the end?
Yes.
Yeah, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Yeah. I think a lot of times we get excited and then we want to add more and more and more. By the way, if you're getting stronger, just so you know, you are progressing your volume. So if you do a lift and then, by the end of the program, it's 20 pounds heavier, you've added volume.
You're progressively overloading.
You've already progressively added volume. So, and because of your history, you can stay in that probably for a full another cycle and then jump to something like Strong.
You can also slowly
performance version too.
Yeah, do that. I like that. I agree with everything you're saying. And you could also ease your way up volume wise through that program. For example, let's say you're on the second round of it and it's been going great. And you're like, man, I feel good. Maybe try adding one exercise. That's it.
Yeah.
Or 2 sets.
There you go.
That's it. And then really and stick to that for a while and evaluate, oh man, I'm feeling good. I'm seeing gains still. Okay, maybe add 2 more and just keep slowly ramping up on 15 is such a good low level of volume to start, especially for someone that's a chronic overtrainer. And then you just inch your way up. But just be honest with yourself, because sometimes guys like us that tend to go that way. We convince ourselves, oh, I'm feeling good. Yeah, I'll do more. Oh yeah, it's working. And then you realize like, oh, maybe it's not. Maybe that's just.
Well, do you just have an itch to do more volume? Like, do you want to do more? Is that what it's all about?
To a certain extent, yes. It feels like a natural progression for me to say, I finished Maps 15, I'm feeling good. Let's experiment with, another program, see how that kind of goes. And if it goes poorly, then kind of going back to 15 and going through another cycle of that, like you guys are suggesting.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing. You just got to be able to know what your body's telling you. But, look, here's how you view adding. This is how adding volume should be done. And here's how, and then there's also how people typically do it, which is wrong. So I'll start with the latter. Here's how people traditionally tend to add volume. They'll go, okay, I'm doing 5 sets per body part. So now I'm going to add volume. I'm going to do 7 sets per body part. Whoa. You just added more volume to everything. Okay. So the right way to do it would be like, I'm going to add volume next week. I'm going to go 7 sets for this one body part. And I'm going to stay like that for a while. And now I'm going to go up 2 more sets for another body part. Not all of them at the same time. You see what I'm saying? Right. It's a huge bump in volume. Yeah. When people
not to mention those same people are, if they're getting stronger, are naturally adding volume already. Right. So you have to take the. Here's a thought is, and is how I approach training is I'm gonna do the least amount to listen to most change for as long as I can. So if 15's giving me return. Yeah. And it's the second or third time I'm going to keep running it.
That's right.
And then eventually you will get really strong, really proficient for that low of volume, and then go, okay, now, and then you take Sal's advice of just pick a muscle group. Hey, you know what? I want to work a little more on my shoulders.
That's right.
I'm going to add a shoulder exercise to this routine, or I'm going to add 2 more sets to the already shoulder exercises, and that's it. And then reap the benefits for that for the next month or so. And so step up like that versus, I think I can handle more. Let's just do more. It's like, well, why don't you keep squeezing that orange if you're getting juice out of it? If you're still getting juice from the 15,
especially because that's what you did previous to this, right? Like you were always like the high volume and running that for a long period of time. This is a fairly new stimulus for you. Your body's obviously enjoying the process of it. Trying to extend that a little bit makes sense to me.
Yeah, and again, if you're getting stronger, the volume's already added.
Yep.
So you can say to yourself, oh, wow, I added volume this week because I did another rep, or I went 5 pounds heavier. But yeah, the idea, and I know what happens mentality-wise, it's like, oh, I want to add volume to my whole body. But what happens is you get no return on everything then, right? So pick that one area, add it there, and see what happens, unless the volume's already been added. And people don't count that. They only count sets. They don't count that they did an extra rep or that they added weight. That's all added volume.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, that actually totally makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, good. By the way, look at your whole fitness journey like this. Most of it is cruising. Like 90%, maybe even 95% is cruising. Then you got 5 to 10% sprints.
Yeah, we throttle every now and then.
Everybody does the opposite. 90% sprint, then they cruise when they're forced to. Then 10% of the time I'm chilling. I'm doing deload week. Well, I add up all your deload weeks. It makes up like 5% of all your training. It should look like cruising with little sprints in between. That's how you get consistent progress.
Right. And another thing about 15, it was nice to go into the gym, spend like the 15 minutes, and then afterwards just have that time with my wife, afterwards, and spending time with family, spending time with friends, and not being consumed, because like I'm at work, or I'm up for work at 5:30 in the morning, and I don't get home till about 5 at night. And so that's, after that would be my gym time. So I'm trying to get in, get out, get back to my family.
Yeah, dude, you got kids?
Even more reason.
Exactly.
You got kids too?
No, just my wife.
All right, so you'll have kids soon too. Like your fitness will make you better at everything, unless your fitness is your top priority. Then it makes everything worse.
Yeah. So true.
Yep.
You're doing good, Chris.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
You got it, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
I wish I knew this as younger. I wish I knew. And I even struggle with it now because I just love working out so much. But, when I was a kid, if I added volume, it was to everything.
Yeah, I know.
And if I got stronger,
it was always all at once.
And getting stronger, I never thought that was more volume.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm doing the same 3 sets. well, yeah, dude, you're doing it twice as much weight. What do you think's gonna happen? You know, it's much more difficult.
Yeah, for the audience, if you're following something like Mass 15 and it's showing you return, you're getting stronger. To your point, you're adding volume. You don't need to change a thing.
Nope.
And I'm gonna ride that as long as I can. I'm gonna, like, if I'm still getting juice out of it, it's like, hey, this is awesome. I'm only doing 2 exercises a day and I'm seeing gains. I'm getting stronger. Ride that, and then eventually you will. You eventually will peak, max out what you're doing with that amount of volume, and then you do what you said. You pick a muscle group and you go, hey, I'm going to add 2 sets.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's it. And then you ride that way for a while, and you stair step like that, and that sets you up for the next few years of like consistent gains. But what we do is we jump right away to what we can tolerate. And the worst part about that I think is important to explain to the audience is, what's deceiving is, let's say he was doing 15 and like I said, and then he goes to like MAPS PED. And the first like 3 weeks of that, he actually sees some results. Like he feels a little stronger, but he's doing so much more. And then it's really quick that body plateaus of that. And then where does he go from there?
Backwards.
Yeah, backwards. And so it's like and it can be deceiving sometimes when someone does that because they can tolerate it and maybe they even see some positive change. But that it was the right amount.
It's crazy to me because even at the highest level of athletics, where millions of dollars are on the line, they have they have preseason training, they have in-season training and off-season training.
Yeah,
but like NBA players and NFL and the NHL, they don't train hardcore all the time. It's actually a small time.
Just constantly touch the muscle groups just to keep that strength there.
I mean, when I used to train people, even my most consistent clients, like people who like kind of kept everything dialed in, when they hired me, they saw strength gains relatively consistently for 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, Doug got stronger consistently for almost about 3 years, working out 2 or 3 days a week at most. For about 3 years, it was consistent strength gains. So there's a lot of runway.